you're kind of a 101 when it comes to
I like that. Thank you.
just the mad consistency of content. Like
Tezos 101, ETH 101, Solana 101, or no 101.
I mean, we love all chains equally.
Hell yeah, that's a good reply. I'm across layer 0, 101.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. It's Sam, NFT Statistics, and today we have Farokh on the podcast. I want to get him on the show for two reasons. First of all, this guy just brings more energy to the space, more energy to his day-to-day than any other person I know. 365 days a year, he's hosting shows. He has his daily show in the morning. A couple times a week, he does an afternoon, evening show as well. And every single time, he is overflowing with energy. His background goes back to being an Instagram follower, an Instagram influencer for many years. He also was big on Tumblr. He was big on Clubhouse. Just seems to hop around from platform to platform, building an audience and bringing energy to the space. The second thing I wanted to talk about is his project Rug Radio. While Farokh is normally the person who is interviewing people, he also in the background is building one of the most interesting decentralized platforms there is. It is a DAO that governs basically a media platform that has 70 to 80 content creators who all work as part of this platform. It's one of the more interesting decentralized platforms I think that is happening in the space right now. So I wanted to give him a chance to tell people about what they're doing at Rug Radio. I hope you enjoy the show. I always love talking to Farokh. He's a good friend, brings great energy, and I think it was an interesting conversation. Farokh, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's been a minute, so I'm glad to finally make it on Proof Podcast. I find that sick.
It has been, man. Yeah, we've been talking about doing this. I was talking to Dave Krugman about doing it for a while too, and then finally we got him on last week. And awesome to have you here.
Thank you. Dave is awesome, by the way.
Dude, what a good guy. So just to start, I know that there's some stories about how at some point Gary V kind of asked you to come work with him, to intern with him, something like that. What's that story? And I guess that kind of speaks a little bit to your on-ramp into the NFT space.
Yeah, it's funny. There's like, that story, that's a funny one. I've been doing social media, of course, like for forever, like some 12 years old, 28 now. It's like when I make my first Facebook account is when I got it like literally hooked right away. And so from Twitter to Tumblr to like OG Tumblr days to Instagram to Clubhouse and back to Twitter and everything. So been around, but yeah, it was 2017, January. And I lived in Italy at the moment. I was doing my last semester of law school in Bologna. And I was on an 8-month exchange. And after 4 months, I was coming back home. And I was already selling ads to Gary Vee and his team for his personal brand since like 2015, I think. I think March 2015 is when I met Andy Krainak. But that team is incredible, by the way. Love them. And when I became friends with them, and I guess I was one of the vendors, right? And so 2017, I met Gary, I think, in January. And he was like, yo, like, should move out here in New York, and join the team and whatnot. And it's funny because I never talk about it because I have the video because they were recording. D-Rock like follows them everywhere, but I'm not the type to like, I don't want to like use this as like marketing or whatever. Like it was always super cringe to me. But that's when really like though, to Gary's like credit, like when he looked at me in the eyes and like, he kind of like acknowledged that I was, I guess, good at what I do. That's when I realized that I am good at what I do and that I should double down. So then I dropped out of school. And I went back to Italy. I packed my bags and I came back home.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unpack that a little bit. Like, let's go back a little bit to kind of, you say that you were all over social media from Tumblr to Twitter to Clubhouse and back. Like, what is it about you? Like, what is your skill set that you think makes social media resonate with you so well?
So from the get-go, like I've always been like this like community person. Like I love gathering people. Maybe it's my Persian side. Like I just love gathering people. I just love being around people. I just love like talking about things that I personally appreciate. And that, for a moment, like I had a luxury blog on Tumblr called Mr. Good Life. Like it's like, that's why I went by, and it's like, I love cars and fine craftsmanship and architecture. So I used to blog about that. Right. And so it gathered a lot of people, became very viral, moved into Instagram and went from 0 to 10 million followers in 2 years across channels. So I guess like what I was always good at, like was like gathering a lot of people around, I guess, a table, call it like a platform to share similar passions. And that's what I found beautiful is that no matter where you're from, no matter what's happening in the world, I was always like super like sensitive to like political climates and like stuff like that, being Persian and like being in a school that's international. So, we studied it all, we saw it all. And like, it was just like, I love the fact that with the tip of my thumbs, I could reach hundreds of thousands, millions of people and gather them around a certain topic and build community around that. So that was always what really got me hooked on social media and social platforms. It was this like fascination. Then a kid from Montreal, can build something out of a broken iPhone 5. That was my iPhone 5 back then. I couldn't afford a new MacBook. And I was cold emailing people to sell them ads and shout outs on Instagram in 2015 from my mom's basement. Like a kid like me could have a platform, have a voice. And so this is why I guess today I'm so passionate about everything we're building.
And when you say you had 10 million Instagram followers, is that like the Farokh Instagram account, or is that, what is it that got 10 million
My
followers?
Farokh Instagram account probably has 200 something thousand followers still today. But it was across multiple channels. So basically when I was doing blogging on Tumblr from 2011 to 2014, I loved it. I had built a huge audience. However, I hadn't gotten paid ever. And I wanted to monetize. So then I went on Instagram at the end of 2014 in November. And that was when I got fired from my last job. And I was like, I'm never going to have a job again. This Instagram thing is going to pop. I'm going to build like a personal brand on there and multiple brands on there. And then I'm going to like, build a media agency out of that. So basically I started off as Good Life and I've built that page. And then basically like as I was growing, I was building multiple other channels because I saw this more like a media where like you could have a luxury page, a love page, a travel page, a meme page, a life hack page, and whatever. And then instead of selling advert on one channel, I could sell it across multiple channels and offer different packages. And so I went from like having my own page and growing it to like saving money, and like I only had $200 to my name. That's all I could use. So like saving money and like buying up other pages, or like I remember a friend loaned me $1,500 so I could acquire my first page and add it to my portfolio. And then eventually I started running pages for someone else, making like a 60-40 split on the ads I would sell. And then I ended up buying them out of all the Instagram pages. And so I would just like rack them up and build pages because I was really good at that. Like I would grow a page on Instagram to 1 million followers within like a couple months. So that's kind of like when I say 15 million, we're doing about 250 million impressions a month. It was from like that, from like just growing them, and just doing my thing.
And when you say buy a page, do you mean like there's like a page that's like we love cars and you're like, oh, that has 100,000 followers, I'll go buy it. Is that what you mean, or what does that even mean?
I mean, it was like before like all this thing popped, right? It was like super, like I would send money to like someone super shady on PayPal, like through friends and family, and like hope I don't get scammed. So wow. Yeah, it's straight up like this is the vibe. Like that was the vibe back then, and obviously.
And then they would send you like a password for an Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Like straight up, like my first $2,000, like I think I had $500 or $600 in a PayPal account, and like the guy wanted like $2,100. It was in January 2015, and I just like blindly sent it to him, friends and family, praying that I don't get rugged, and like it happened. And then the next day I made my first $1, and then I made $1 every single day that year. And I thought it was while being in school, mind you. So yeah, that's kind of like how it was.
And just because I'm curious, sorry to keep going down this. Sorry to anyone listening. I was like, why are we talking about Instagram? But so let's say you buy a page and then you start making money on ads from that. Like how do you make money off ads from a page you buy right away? Is it just kind of normal?
So I had a
Instagram
following
channels?
Correct. So it was before the era of the influencers, right? Like the term influencer was not even coined yet. Like I remember when that term got coined, and I was like, whoa, like it's cool. Okay, that's an interesting word. But it was just like that, just selling ad space. Like I would like basically like I would have like a busted up iPhone 5, and I would have a list of like 100, 200, 300 companies that I found on Instagram, and I would cold email them and be like, yo, I own XYZ page. This is the followers it has. This is how much for a shout out. Like, let's work, right? And so we would do advertising like that in that sense, like before it became a thing.
And was there like a game around like just buying followers or like getting fake followers or botting followers at the time?
There's always been a game around that, but it was not my game. Actually, as a matter of fact, one of the reasons that I got kind of like grossed out by the industry at the end of 2020, which was perfect timing because I fell into Clubhouse and all that stuff and NFTs, is that I was just disgusted by it because like I would get approached by people saying like, yo, like I want to grow X amount of followers. I'm like, okay, sure. Like organically, this is how much it's going to run you. We're going to do a campaign across 100 million followers. It's going to take you 3 months, 6 months, and that's how we're going to do it, right? But then people be like, no, I want fakes. And I was like, hey, like I ain't doing that. But the thing is, a lot of people were doing all these fake followers, all these giveaways that were like botted. So then I just got like, and then the business dried up, right? Because like people were going towards that, either like followers you can have for pennies on the dollar or like fake. So, you know, I was like, no, that ain't for me. And I left the industry then.
I guess if you are paying for them, I guess you're kind of in the number go up mentality as opposed to
It just
I want
doesn't
people
work
who like
long
me for my
term.
content.
Like I've seen a lot of people come and go in the space. Like, you know, a lot of people grow. And that's why I told you in that vlog that we did together, which was posted on our Rug Radio channels, but like a lot of people grow, but very few people can remain relevant. And so if you want to grow fast, sure, go ahead. But like if you want to stay relevant over 5, 10 years, 50 years, which I'm trying to do, you know, that stuff's not going to work because the algorithm's just going to wreck you.
Got it. I mean, so you've been crushing it from like Tumblr to Instagram. You said Clubhouse. You know, I do remember like a minute of being on Clubhouse when I was living in Hong Kong.
You're not on there?
But I was there for a little while. I was there for a little bit. But you know, I actually thought it was kind of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Meeting totally random people. It's a little very different from Twitter Spaces, where like I found like the people who are on Twitter Spaces, you know, their PFP at least. You kind of have this similar thing. Whereas on Clubhouse, I just go on and meet like just the most random
crazy
people. Yeah, it was fun. It had a couple moments, but so what got you into NFTs? Like what was that kind of on ramp to go from being Instagram influencers / it almost feels like business person, you know? It was like you had a business there, to kind of moving into NFTs.
Yeah, I mean, I've always seen myself as like as an entrepreneur. I mean, I was a solopreneur for like almost 10 years on Instagram. Like I've been doing media for 12 years now, 2 years in Web3 and 10 years pre-Web3 days. And so then the label influencer comes as soon as you have over 100,000 followers. So it is what it is. But it was actually on Clubhouse that I found out about NFTs, speaking of devil. And, you know, peak quarantine, COVID hit hard, especially in Montreal, Quebec, where like we had the first quarantine, I think, in the history of the country since like World War or something. It was like 8 p.m. curfew. Like you couldn't go out, $10,000 fine if you had someone over, $2,000 a head. Like it was crazy like that, right? So there was nothing else to do but to be on Clubhouse, which was probably why Clubhouse ran, or why even a lot of crypto at some point. Actually, why crypto? Like I'm no expert on that front, but look, like, you know, that definitely helped. So what happened is that I had already building my brand on Clubhouse. I got obsessed with it December 28th, 2020, when I started my first Clubhouse room with my friend Buster, and it was just to talk about everything and nothing. Predictions for 2022, for 2021, because 2020, you know, what's going to happen in social media, because we were building brands on social since years, him and I. And we talked for 4 hours to like 2 people in the audience. And then we got hooked. The next day I showed up, and the next day. And then I started doing this 12 to 16 hours a day. I even ran a room for 36 hours straight once with a 4-hour break in between to nap. Yeah, crazy. But it was crazy. The numbers were insane. We would get like, if you think Twitter Space is crazy now, like Clubhouse peak was like 5,000 to 8,000 people live at the same time concurrently for hours straight every single day. Like we would rake in like hundreds of thousands of listeners a day, right? But anyways, fast forward February 18th, 2021, you know, I'm already 3 months into Clubhouse. I probably already have like, I don't know, like 75K followers on there, which was a lot. I was kind of known as the guy like hosting the rooms and whatnot, the talk shows, yada, yada, yada. And one night, I'm like, just like, anyways, it's like midnight. I'm lit. Like I'm lit. And then my friend Buster is like, has a room called like, he's a big physical collectibles guy, like big, like Pokemon, like he's big in that industry as well, like in terms of like podcasting. He has a room called like physical collectibles, Pokemon cards, whatever, and NFTs. And I'm like, what the hell is this NFT thing? Like, why does he have that in his title? So I joined the room. He mods me up because we're like best friends. And then Logan Paul comes in the room, like crashes the Clubhouse room. So what happens is that like when celebrities or big names would come in the Clubhouse room, I don't know if you remember, like the room would pop. So immediately there's like 2,000-3,000 people in the audience. I still have the screenshots actually. And then all of these NFT people come and they horn the stage, like all of them, like 50 of them. And who were these people? Ferocious.
Apes.
Victor Mascara.
Oh, wow.
Thank You X, Lady Phoenix, Tommy Kimmelman, Greg Mike, and like 50 of them. And here I am, lit as hell, from 12 to 4 a.m. asking all the questions under the sun, the stupid questions that people are scared to ask. I don't believe in stupid questions. Like, what's an NFT? Why is this valuable? Why should I buy it? Because I was already big. I loved art. And I promised myself that 2021 would be the year where I get into crypto. And so it just piqued my curiosity. Next day, I shut down all the operations I had on Instagram, never looked back. February 21st, 2021, I bought my first NFT, Micah Johnson, Aku Genesis, and the rest is history.
Do you still own it? You still
Yeah,
own
of
the Micah
course. I have a
Johnson?
lot of his stuff. I'm a big fan of Aku.
Dude, Carly Riley, the best in the game, is huge into Aku, man.
I love Aku.
She's,
Look, it was my first NFT, and like just the story, it was so compelling of why can astronauts be black, and to me, like it was just beautiful the way he talked about it, and I just jumped in.
Yeah, it's one of the things that struck me though when you were saying Clubhouse and these people rated it. I assumed actually that it would be like the apes.
That was
you
us.
hear about
That was me.
that was you later. But the people you listed are actually like very well reputed one-of-one artists. You know,
Yeah, so they became the biggest, right? But at the time they were not, and so it's crazy to me that I ended up in the room where Thank You X was my teacher, where Ferocious was my teacher, right? And you look at them today, it's like some of the biggest what's his name? Like it was the biggest founders, CEOs. Like sometimes I caught Matt and John right one day in my Clubhouse room. Like you'd have Jimmy early on. You'd have like Whale Shark was big back then. You had like all these people would just hang out. Like the founder of Flow. Like it's just people would just hang out on Clubhouse. The founder of OpenSea, Alex Atala, early on would just hang out on Clubhouse and like teach people about this NFT thing. So it was really a special time.
And you moved quickly from student to teacher. It sounds like you kind of.
Right
it
away.
Sounds like once you bought one, how quickly was that transition, and then how did your role on Clubhouse kind of evolve?
It was not even student to teacher. It was student to like student with a voice that wanted to elevate people because I saw the power of it right away, and so instead of just asking questions in private, I just hosted rooms and asked the questions I wanted to ask. And I still, to this day, I do that. Like when I selfishly want to learn about something or a team is doing really well, I'll have them on the morning show because I want to learn more about them. But I think that I need other people deserve to learn too. So like I would host these rooms every single day after that. So I pivoted to just rooms focused on NFTs so I could learn about them. And then we grew the biggest NFT club within Clubhouse. And then we moved to like Twitter Spaces in June when, you know, there was a transition like everybody else, but it was just like, you know, it was just that. It was just the fact that I felt like I was finally early. Like I missed Bitcoin in 2012. I missed ETH in 2016. And when I saw NFTs in 2021, I was like, hey, yo, like I'm not missing this. I was like, Farokh, like you're not going to do the same mistake you've done before. And you're going to go in this.
So when I think back to 2021 and like those days being on Clubhouse, I'm always like, why didn't I just buy like 20 CryptoPunks?
Everybody thinks that, right? Even I.
Exactly.
One,
exactly. Why did I just mint apes? You know, I think that's the most common,
especially the apes. Because we were on Clubhouse pushing them like crazy, right? Like we were rating rooms. We were like, I bought my first 3 apes under 1 ETH. Like it was like the thing.
Yeah. So everyone listening is like, man, I wish I were as early as Farokh. You were early. What are your regrets? Like what are your in terms of, let's just talk as a collector. Like if you were there that early, was it that easy to make money? Or do you think like there's kind of a misperception that like it was easy if you got in at that point?
I think it was easier. Definitely. I would be lying if I told you it wasn't. Like yeah. A lot of people just like would like just buy anything and then it would hit, right? But you know, it was definitely easier, but it wasn't easy. And by the way, mind you, like a lot of times I look back, I'm like, would you have held it? Right? Like, and a lot of people talk about that. Like, would you have held when apes went to 0 to 1 ETH and then dumped back to 0.2 and then Meebits came out and everybody thought the apes were dead? Would you have held that? Would you have held apes from that Christie's when they was first at Christie's, they ran from like 3 ETH to 10 ETH? Would you? Would you have held when apes ran from 10 then to like a 20 ETH? Like, and it's all these things, right? So like, it's easy to say it was easy or like we were early, but it's also another thing to hold. And that's why I have so much respect for like people like Danny, people like these, people like, or in crypto, like the big crypto stories that you hear from people who actually had the nerve to like hold through cycles and are now you're hearing the success stories. But I don't think there's luck, but a lot of it is, you know, a lot of preparation and, you know, a lot of guts.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there is, I always say people either lose money or don't make enough, you know, and I feel like we all no matter when you're there, you're always like, know what you missed. You know what you missed. You have your regrets. You could have bought more. I bet even Danny wishes he bought more punks or whatever it is. You know, it's
I
just
bet you everybody feels like that. Like I feel like this sometimes. That's when I realize I'm greedy and I need to get out of something. I'm like, oh, but that's not enough. Or like, oh, I bought this coin. It's up, but I could have made more, but I still made something. Like Mando
yeah,
the other day, I was like that. He was like, dude, like if you think about what you could have sold at, then you're gonna be depressed. If you realize that you have gained something and just keep doing it over and over again, then maybe you're gonna be happier. And so that hit me.
yeah, exactly. So why don't we fast forward? Let's talk about Rug Radio, man. Rug Radio is now kind of the person you are. It's the company you're the founder of. You have a big staff. But what was the origin there? And what was like the original thing you saw where you're like, here's a problem, let's go solve it?
So obviously, I've been in media for a long time at this stage. I've been a student of social media and social platforms for over a decade now. I mean, my first Facebook page was when I was 12. So when you think about it, it's like 16 years of just being on social platforms every day. So at this stage, I had already built the communities. I had already built the millions of followers. I had already built a lot of things. But I had never gotten anything from platforms ever. Like Instagram never paid me to do my thing. Clubhouse never gave me a dime to do my thing, right? But yet the creators, have helped these companies build their trillion-dollar valuations, their multi-billion-dollar valuations, but we never really got anything out of it. Not that we deserve the world, but at least a little something as people who are propelling the network, right? And so, I had been on my, on my Clubhouse thing, and obviously then transitioned to Twitter Spaces in June 2021. I had 0 followers on Twitter, like in February 2020, like nothing. Like I just started like from 0 to 400,000 followers almost now, like then. And so here we are, like fast forward from, let's say February, I hosted my first room about NFTs to September 18th, 2021. And I used to host rooms with these and stuff for like 10 hours straight. So here we go. We're on a Saturday, I think, or Sunday, but I think it's Saturday. And September 18th, 2020, or 18th or 19th, sorry, 2021. And it's like 10 hours long. But the Twitter space kept getting rugged. Like you would open the space, it would get rugged, meaning it would end. And so my phone would like overheat and my screen would turn purple. And so it would just overheat, it would get rugged and I'd go back. Rugged, and instead of giving up, I'd just come back and there was thousands of listeners. So I'm like, yo, let me call this, instead of rugged and back in the title, let me call it Rug Radio, because it's like the new age radio. It's live social audio. I had been already doing live social audio for like 11 months, right? 10 months. And I was like killing it. So I was like, yo, I really like this model. And I love live social audio because to me, it's the most powerful tool to have ever come out of social media. It's live social audio, ever. And so anyways, I had been studying NFTs, studying blockchain. I had stayed curious for months. I showed up every day for the community. I had collected, I had made money, I had lost money, I had done it all, right? And I'd already created this like community called the House of Farokh, which was a community that I had created like 10 days prior on my birthday to like build a community to like for people to gather in my home, to be able to talk about things, to escape the Twitter craziness and whatnot. And so on that Twitter space, I was like, hey, you're telling me like blockchain, DAOs, tokenization, all this thing I've been here for 9 months, right? How do we create a media company, a media brand, literally for the people, by the people, where we all collectively actually like in some way or another own a piece of it, right? Like at least like own the narrative within it, and where people can actually get value out of it. And this is when I was like, who wants to be head of tokenomics? That's when I met, Mel, who did the tokenomics structure. Who wants to be head of this? I was throwing out roles and people were coming up on stage and talking about like how like they want to be part of this. And then we created Rug Radio, and there's a POAP to commemorate that. And so we created Rug Radio on our Twitter space. And then we moved back. I kind of like found out who was serious about this, like 4 or 5 people. We went to a drawing board for 2 months. And after Art Basel, we dropped the free membership passes for Rug Radio. And then January 2021, so 11/11/22. So January 11th, 2022 is when we dropped the Rug Radio NFTs and when we launched this. So that's kind of where the idea came from. It's like, I guess it's like, I've been thinking about this a lot. I guess it's like the culmination of 10 years of actually building community on social platforms and never actually getting anything out of it, rather than me having to hustle on the side and build a business on the side. And then like finding out that maybe blockchain tech is what I've been waiting for this entire time, to be able to build this crazy idea I've always had in my head, but I just didn't know it. So that's what happened.
And of those people, how many of them are still around? It's the people who were raising hands on stage that first time.
Not many. As a matter of fact, Like there's more people that were there day one, like in the audience that were buying NFTs. Like Loxley was one of our early whales and he's my co-CEO now. Mike Kriak was an early adopter of Rug Radio. He's an advisor now. He's the CEO of Consensus Mesh. Mando, who you know very well, was one of my first ever whales. Him and OSF had 180 Rug Radio membership passes because they just got it and they were super bullish on me. Like we weren't friends like that. They were just supporters of Farokh and his crazy idea. And then they had a show on our network and then we teamed up for the morning show. So I guess it's more of like the early mods, the early community members that transitioned into positions within Rug Radio. Like Rai Guy, he does our PR newsletter. He's been following me since before Rug Radio launched. So mostly that, but now it's just like really from the founding side, it's just me. And then the Syndicate DAO, who did help build all the tech behind it. So the token, the DAO, they're still helping us. Like we just launched a Corey Van Loo PFP, it was them. And they still help us a lot behind the scenes with a lot of the tech needs that we have.
How would you break it down when you think of so to me, when I think of a media company, when I think of Facebook, like, yes, you have a platform and they may, and you get a big platform on, let's call it Instagram. And then they sell advertisements to all sorts of companies, buy advertisements from them.
I used to buy them.
Like that feels like I understand the cash flows there. What's the cash flows of Rug Radio and of kind of for the people media company you see yourself as?
It's honestly brand partnerships right now, right? And by the way, everything's like super public. So wiki.rug.fm is like our Bible and we have our financials posted there every quarters. We do a quarterly report on our revenue, on our income, on our finances. And every 6 months we present the finances that we need for 6 months to the DAO to continue. And so, which I love, the transparency personally, something I'm very proud of. So anyone can just see them. And so basically, the revenue is partnerships still is to date. So what we do is intentional partnerships. We partner with teams and people that we think bring value to our ecosystem and to our creators. Meaning, for example, the best one is Sorare, right? Sorare, you know what Sorare is, of course. Trading a fantasy card game, partner with NBA.
I saw him on the show today.
Yeah, the founder was on the show this morning. Nicolaus, great guy, very supportive of Rug Radio. And so basically we wanted to open a sports vertical. So we have Buster, who, funny enough, full circle moment for me personally when we started together, is a great creator. So we got a partnership with Sorare, and then for morning show and night show, we're able to bring value back into our community because Sorare is an actual good product. Well, I think so, personally speaking. Good product, brings value to people who want to play it, but at the same time, we can deliver for the client who needs to reach a certain target market, right? Target audience. And so, and obviously they pay us to do all this stuff, which is all public and it's out there. So we partner with projects, we partner with teams, and we go to market with them, with specific creators. And so now we have 5 tiers of creators and we have multiple creators that we can, help partner with brands. And what's really cool, again, it's on the wiki, there's a partnership framework for the Rug DAO because all of this falls under the Rug DAO. The core team is paid under the Rug DAO. There's no Inc., there's no LLC. It's an actual foundation and a proper DAO that I don't even own. And so all the partnerships go through there. So all the revenue goes through the DAO, and then we have a creator cut, a Rug DAO cut, and everything. So it's pretty well organized.
Yeah. Okay. So if I personally own a rug, how do I end up seeing are the rugs the token to be members of the DAO? Is that the idea?
Correct. So basically the way it works in our ecosystem is that you have 3 NFTs at the moment and 2 ERC20s. It sounds crazy, but it's actually not that complicated. You have the membership pass, which was 19,000 free passes that we gave in December 2021, right? To 19,000, actually, you would have loved the stat back then. It was 19,000 unique holders when we launched.
Wow.
Yeah, because 1,000 were held back by the DAO. Because we actually launched a game, and you had to play a video game to get allowed to the access list. It was crazy, bro. It was like a mini me running, and rugs were falling from the sky, and you had to catch.
I remember the energy about it. But I think back then I was doing more like punks and ape stats, and just wasn't as focused on all these kind of new kind of DAOs.
No, I feel that. I feel that. It was crazy. There was a lot also, and so we had the membership pass, which is the basic access to our ecosystem, still is to this date, very important part, right? And so then it allowed you to mint an NFT for 0.11 ETH, which was the initial, how we got the ETH that went to the DAO. And so basically the Rug Radio Genesis NFT, which are the rugs, the banners. And so these NFTs all yield a rug token, which you have to go and claim for obvious reasons. And so it's 5, 7, or 11 rug token yielded per day, depending on the rarity of your rug, standard, scarce, or rare, right? And so then once you have 1,800 rug token, you can swap it for 1 RDAO token, which DAO token is access to the governance over the ecosystem. Now, why 2 tokens? I'm personally not a fan. I've seen actually Vitalik write about this. A fan of a single airdrop of a governance token. Though I'm a fan of ApeCoin, I'm a fan of ENS and everything. optimism, everything. The thing is, they airdropped you governance. They didn't airdrop you like magical internet money, though that's how people want to see it and how a lot of us do at the end of the day. We love it. But like the airdrop to governance, the quorums and actually participation within those DAOs are very low. So basically, we have a token that's yielded over 5 years. So these rugs yield tokens for 5 years. We're a year and a half in now. A total of 255 million tokens will be emitted over 5 years. And then every time you have 1,800, so each rug is meant to yield you one rug token per year. You swap it for the DAO token for intentional governance. So we have about 1,500 our DAO holders at the moment, and we have about 200 to 300 that vote on every single proposal. And so I'm trying to show people that you can actually build a DAO within the NFT space and run a brand in that sense. And so when you ask me, what does the holder get? What's the value that the holder gets from all this? The bigger the DAO gets, the bigger the treasury gets, the more we can release that value back to its participants through community grants, through the prop house that we're taking from Nouns that we're using, through the activations that we're doing all the time, through hiring more of our members, through putting bounties out for work, through them maybe putting proposals through to build projects that we can fund, and then eventually sub DAOs that we will be pushing it by the end of the year. So there's a lot of value that comes out of being a holder, and it's much more than meets the eye. But again, it requires the participant to be active within the network.
Okay, got it. So let's say I run Sam's NFT and I say, Farokh, I want to partner with you. I want to go on your show, and I'm going to be a full paying partner. You're telling me I pay the DAO that money? Like, what does that relationship work? You say, sure, Sam, we'd love to have you on the show. Here's who you have to pay to be on our show, and that's going to go to the holders. Like,
so we have a partnerships lead. So we have a team, of course, now, because I obviously can't do it all. So we have we're like 15 to 20 people team now. It's actually pretty, I was thinking about, we're making an org chart right now because I've lost track, but in a good way, but thankfully I have Loxley. But it's basically you're Sam, you want to partner with one of the shows on Rug Radio. You come and you go through a partnerships funnel, which is on our website and everything. So it's really, really, really well organized. And then you pay X, Y, or Z, and then that money goes into like a centralized wallet, which is Docs, by the way. It's in our financials and everything. And then per the partnership frameworks, the beauty of thing is Rug Radio was built on top of a bunch of frameworks, the Rug DAO. Partnership, tokenomics, creator framework, there was 7, and they're all in the wiki. That was written by a community voted elected council of 33 members and then voted on by the community. So when you close a partnership yourself under the hood of Rug Radio, you have to send 15% of that revenue into the Rug DAO, and the creator keeps 85%. So it's very creator focused, creator heavy. However, of course, in the longer term, this is not viable as a business model for the Rug DAO. So basically, if Rug Radio gets the business, so through Rug DAO, so my partnerships leads for your creator, there's a 10% additional that goes into the Rug DAO. So it's a 75-25 split in favor of the creator as well. And so this is literally how we have our revenue. And now we started with just GM Web3, Mando SFNet, because we were the anchor show. We still are to this day, the show of Rug Radio. But now we have more and more creators. So Rect Radio is monetized. GM Web3 is monetized. We're working with Daniel or X Gems in China. Rug Radio China is monetized. Ben, etc. We're really just now building this out and adding layers to it where we can put more and more money into the pockets of creators within the ecosystem.
Got it. And who can start those shows that get monetized via Rug Radio?
Great question. We have 70 creators now, over 40 shows. And so we have a head of creators as well, of course. And so basically there was a period where you could apply. And so we have 5 tiers of shows and you have to work your way up. So we really run on meritocracy, because the last thing you want to do is like empower someone that will use your brand, grow them, and then they don't care. Because being a creator is serious. Like being a creator is not just like opening a Twitter space. You work very hard for this podcast and for your clips that you make every day. And so being a creator is an actual full-time job, right? And so as you work up the ways and the tiers, then you get more support from my team and from myself as well. And once you make it up to tier 5, then this is where we fully like help you monetize your brand and everything and grow it outside of what you're doing on your own. So that's how it is. So right now there's 70 creators. We've put a chill pill on that. Like it's a lot. And we're soon going to open up again and just keep adding creators slowly. And hopefully one day, this will all be kind of like self-made, automated through the DAO, through voting mechanism and everything, where we're going to be able to have infinite amount of creators under the Rug Radio umbrella.
And having kind of built this business out, you've done other businesses before as a solopreneur and entrepreneur. How do what's kind of your takeaway about the DAO model, about doing things in a decentralized way? Like, what would you see as the pros? What would you see as the cons that you would warn someone about? Like, what's been your overall kind of pluses and minuses having done it.
I think not everything needs to be a DAO, but I do think that a lot of things could actually be DAOs. And I think that the beauty of Rogue Radio lies within the DAO. So a lot of the time, people have told me, why are you doing this? You're crazy. Why don't you do a media company, whatever. Look, I love Decrypt, CoinDesk, Blockworks, NFT Now, Bankless. They're all friends. And I support them always. But there's a lot of those. I think the value and the beautiful thing behind Rogue Radio is the fact that it is a decentralized media ecosystem, or at least progressively working towards decentralization. Our goal is 5 years. So we're a year and a half in. And the more it's growing, the more I'm just loving it because it's becoming more and more actually decentralized. And so I think that the beauty of that is that it's like building a company, building a brand on steroids. It's like the power of Farokh multiplied by so many people that you can empower to build with you. Now, the downside is that a lot of DAOs end up being just nonprofit organizations where like you put in the work, you do everything, and you get nothing out of it. So it's important for you as a leader of the DAO, as a co-founder and a member of the DAO, to manage to always bring value back to its network. So like every day I'm trying to think of ways, even this week, like most of my meetings were about that. Like, how do I bring the utmost value to the holders of the RDAO token? And value doesn't mean like cash. That's when it becomes security. Value means, how do you make it worth their while? How do you make it so people can want to participate? Like, our council members are paid, right? And that's because it went through a voting, right? The members, now we have a bounty process. Now we have every month, we have like 3 or 5 ETH that people that are up for grabs, 0.5 ETH to 1 ETH per person, to put proposal through and to build things on top of Rogue Radio. So I think like you have to manage expectations, but also be able to manage returns on time for people, because the last thing you want is people to feel like they're giving you everything and that they're getting nothing out of it. And I'm sure a lot of us have felt that way before. So it's a very thin line. It's very hard. Don't start one if you're not willing to go the whole way. Like, I don't like the half-assed DAOs. You can't Web 2.5 a DAO, right? You got to go Web 3.0. Like, there's no Inc. and LLC for Rogue Radio. Farokh Sarmat doesn't own Rogue Radio Inc., right? I have my DAO tokens. I'm the second largest holder of DAO token, mind you, and I had to work for it. So, and there was no like pre-sale or whatever, right? So yeah, that would be my advice. Like, really like try to do it intentionally, and it took me 12 months to get the DAO running, Sam. Like, it was 6 months until the framework was up and running, and another 6 months until we were an official Cayman Foundation, December 2022. And now the DAO is really running well, and we've had multiple proposals go through, but it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. And if someone wants financial exposure, wants to be part of it, what do you think, like just wants to baby step their way in, what do you think is the best kind of first step towards becoming part of the Rogue Radio ecosystem?
It's really like, as much as I love our membership pass, I think everybody needs one membership pass for Rogue Radio, because it's like the entry level to Rogue Radio and its ecosystem. And you have the same level of access to all our events. Platform, that's Creator Network platform's dropping in less than 2 weeks. Sick. Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's actually, I can't believe the tech is coming out. It's funny. I just had a meeting before coming to you about this. And so there's that coming out, and we have a lot of tech. So that's that. But if you're on True Exposure and the PFP, of course, I think they're beautiful. I love Corey Van Loo. He's my best friend. He's my favorite artist, alongside like Fuel and a couple others. So I think everybody needs a Rogue Radio PFP, because first of all, they're cheap, but also they're beautiful. But really the essential part of it all, like the heart and soul of Rogue Radio, is the Genesis NFT that yields your Rogue token, because then you can swap them for Rogue DAO token, because this is where you have active participation. And so I think like owning a Rogue Radio NFT is good, because it's the NFT that you can just leave in your wallet, let it yield Rogue token. And when you're ready, you go on the website and you just claim your token. And if you want to participate. If not, you can just like hold it forever and just yield it, if you believe in the fact that I will be able to bring value to the ecosystem. Not even I, the team, the network will be able to bring value to the rest of the network as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think there's beauty in like being, Sam, like, I think there's beauty in being that NFT that people dust. Like, let me like be on your shelves, catch some dust, and you catch up in 6 months, like, oh shit, like this guy's actually doing it,
That's the dream, man. That's what every NFT project wants to be.
I love see those prices. Like, of course, it's the market right now. Like, look at the listings, right? There's never more than like 400 or 500 Rogue Radio NFTs listed at the same time, ever.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, and I love buying them up. And so it's just like, to me, this is the main one, right? This is the pivotal part of all Rogue Radio.
And what don't partners have to buy rugs? Isn't that like part
A lot
of
of
the
the
deal you have as well?
we have it set up so that partners get rugs, but now we're working on different things where like partners will actually have to have a certain part of the ecosystem to really come partner with us in order to bring value to our tokens and everything. So it's gonna be really cool. Like they're gonna have to buy rugs, and we're working on different mechanisms and stuff. So we've had a lot of them come through and buy rugs. We've had a couple of funds like Metaversal and Consensus Mesh that came up and wanted to have exposure to rug videos. So they got 200 rugs each, and those are just vaulted rugs. Like, of course, those are not hitting the market again. So yeah, it's been really cool to watch this happen.
Amazing. Well, let's do a couple questions. I'd say kind of more about Farokh as an influencer, as a content person, as a
Founder.
as a founder, as a radio host. What is your personal approach when you're collecting NFTs?
I gotta like the art, like 99% of the time, unless it's pure just utility play. I love art. I grew up around art my whole life. I guess that's why I really understood NFTs early on. And, especially it's funny that my teachers were Thank You X and Fuel before the whole ape stuff that went crazy and the PFP craze. So I gotta like the art. And then it's different because if you asked me this question in 2021, I wouldn't answer it the same way as I'm answering it today on your podcast, right? Like I got to see some meat under the hood. Like I got to know that the people were actually build it. They have intentions to stay in the space. They have intentions to do something. Back then I would say, oh, I love the communities. I love the vibes. They get a lot of engagement on social. Let's buy it. And that thesis didn't work out really well, did it? Huh. But hey, like it was part of it. It's part of the learning curve. And I'm really happy I was there at that time as well, right? But right now I need to I'm much more mindful with the ether I spend because I'm super bullish on ETH. And so I really want to hold on to my ether, but it's really about wanting to come and be part of a community that is actually building something or it's just for the art. Like I'm a big rare Pepe and fake rare guy. I'm a big Pepe guy. So I buy Pepes all the time on XCPs, on Counterparty just for the art. Right. So it's just different thesis. It's either art bag or utility bag.
Got it. And when you, what types of things do you look for in builders? I said because I think of a lot of projects that really built stuff well, and that I remember Boss Beauties were constantly speaking at the UN and doing all these things to promote the brand, and the NFT price just went down and down and down. And I almost think building at some level, building isn't a guarantee for the NFTs to do well. I mean, look at us. They're not securities, right? It's not like a stock where you get the cash flows of, and whatever gets built and becomes profitable gets trickled down to the NFT holders. We always say build a lot, but what does that mean to you?
It's very hard right now, especially in this market and ecosystem. I'm sure you talk about this a lot on your show, but to actually bring actual floor prices are just not moving that much. I mean, you're looking at Rugradio's floor, and it doesn't faze me anymore. But yet then you as a friend, you see us showing up every day. You see us delivering product. You see us having revenue outside of NFTs. We've done over $1 million in partnerships last 6 months. We're doing it. We're doing a damn thing in the open. It's still not helping the prices, right? But we have a core holder base that believes in us and in my ability to build it. But when I look into a builder as someone who will overcome adversity, I wrote about that a couple of days ago about Doodles and Artifact. I look into someone or a team that is actually here for the right reasons, that believes in the tech, the blockchain, and that I have a feeling is here to stay and deliver a product that's needed. Because a lot of us in crypto, we think we're filling a gap that we think is needed to break through, but very often we're bringing no solutions. We're not actually building something that's useful to better Web 2, we like to say, or to better this and better that. So anyways, it's just I just look at people that are relentless. You tell me the Boss Beauty stuff, at the end of the day, a lot of these projects, and I like them by the way, is they're gonna do incredible things outside, but the price is not always gonna reflect on the floor of the NFT. That's just the market. It's tough, man. It's a very weird one because, it's crazy. I mean, I'm sure but it's really tough to actually manage to bring value back to the eco.
Yeah. I mean, with the rugs, I wonder how many people actually understand how it all flows. Especially new people. I go on Rug Radio a lot. We've been friends for a while, and I don't even fully get it. I almost wonder if that education process towards
it's very hard. There's a
feels
lot going on, and that's why my pinned tweet is always an ecosystem explanation of Rug Radio, so that within one tweet, a bunch of characters, you can understand at least a bit of what Rug Radio is, and this is why I was very adamant behind the scenes in building the wiki. So on rug.fm/wiki is like the Rug Radio Bible. So like everything you ever need to know, and we maintain it every freaking week. There's an update.
Oh wow!
Every week.
Wow.
We have town hall every bi-weekly. We have never missed a town hall in a year and a half. And if we did, we cut it back. And so we have been doing this, and we have been, updating newsletter every week, every Sunday that goes out and everything. So I think we're very good on the communication explanation level. And then I try to do stuff like what I'm doing with you right now as much as I can, because I do want to genuinely educate people on what we're building. But again, I understand it's tough. And also, what's so glamorous over holding a Rug Radio NFT that's a banner that, you have to let catch dust for a year or two when you can get a NFT and go gamble in the casino and make more money in a short period of time? I guess that's what people want right now. But my focus is on the long term. Sweet. And I like the short term, mind you. I like the short term as much as I love the long term play.
Yeah. No, we will get, we'll put a link in the show notes here so people can definitely go check out that wiki. I'm definitely going to check it out. I haven't been there myself, but it sounds like you are doing the things you expect other people to do. And, that's just something that, you're walking the walk, and I'm definitely looking forward to dig in and learn a little bit more about the ecosystem when I have time as well beyond this.
Hell yeah.
Few other questions. How do your Twitter, I find over the year and a half, I find it can be quite polarizing. I'm like, sometimes I'll see people say something about you. I'm like, why are people going off on Farokh again? What do you think it is? What do people misunderstand about you? How are you always how is it that there's always there's a Farokh hater in the crowds? What's going on there?
I grew very fast in a very niche industry. Very fast. Like 0 to 100K in a few months, 0 to 300K. Rug Radio, 0 to 70 creators worldwide, China, France. Like, we're opening divisions across the entire fucking world, 20-person team. Like, that's polarizing. Like, I am on Spaces every day. I throw myself in the shark pit every single morning. So being someone vocal every day, you know that because you're starting to get that a little more now because you are very vocal. You're polarizing. Your tweets do numbers. Frank is the same, right? And so this is why. It's just normal. Look, at times, like, you just can't let it get to you, and you have to understand that it's part of the game. And you understand that if your intentions are good and you stay true to your North Star, you will win in the space. So it is what it is. You can't have everyone like you. You can't expect everybody to be your best friend. But what you can do is make sure that you are taking care of yourself and the people around you that truly care for you. And those are your holders that believe in you. Like, every time there's something on timeline, I'll have holders be like, just focus on that. Focus on who really cares for you. And I've learned that. I've made mistakes. I, respond to people and started beef when you don't need to. And there's some times where you actually have to, because you do have to stand your ground, and you can't just let people label, slander, and defame you all day, because it does get annoying. But you have to understand that you're here and that you're doing something good. And I genuinely believe that the impact that I'm leaving in the space and what Rug Radio is doing right now is positive for Web3 and for crypto and blockchain tech in general. And I will continue to do so.
Yeah. How do you decide if you're like, this just needs to be ignored versus this is an area where I kind of want to defend myself a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, when it's vitriol and like, like when it's like straight up, like there's lines, I have personal boundaries as well, a lot. And so once that's crossed, I just don't go there. But there's sometimes where I see it's blatant fake news. I have to get involved because it's not right. And actually what I tend to do a lot actually, I've done this maybe over a dozen times. If someone sometimes generally writes something mean about me or like, wants to call me out, I will DM them. And I'll be like, hey, respectfully. I did that with Eric. Respectfully. Actually, Osef and I met over Twitter beef. Sergito and I met over Twitter beef. And Ovi's like I was at his wedding, right? We're like Osef, we're like best friends. And actually in his wedding speech, he mentioned that. It was so funny. But it's like, I'll DM them and be like, hey, like, do you like really mean that? Or like, did you actually do your research? Like, do you think this is true? And then most of the time, they'll be like, wait, I'm sorry. Or like, it's funny, I have the story of this dude. And like, now we talk all the time about this, like literally today and this week, like 4 times. Where like, he met me at the Beeple studio event in Charleston, the opening. This dude was one of my biggest haters, but I didn't know who he was. So then a day later on the timeline, he's like, I met Farokh IRL. I was too much of a like redacted word to tell him how I felt and who I was, right? But it was really cool. So I DM'd him. And now we're homies, right? And like homies, right? It's like, I really like the guy. And so I love this anecdote because it's just like, I think a lot of the times because you have a very big audience It's polarizing. It's scary to people. It's intimidating, and people think something of you. And I'm trying to change that narrative. Actually, today again, I've been doing this all day. Yesterday, like, I'm really trying to change that narrative of the us versus them thing, because at the end of the day, like, dude, you should be inspired by it. I mean, it should be inspiring to see that some kid like raised by a single mom, like that started with $200 like 10 years ago, that didn't have much money, doesn't come from it, like managed to build a fucking voice in the space so fast, and that managed to build something so big at 28 years old. Like, people don't understand. Like, they'll treat me like a 45-year-old like businessman that does this and that. Like, I'm 28 and I have like a 20-person team now. Like, it ain't no joke, right? It's an enterprise, right? And so I think that people need to like sometimes understand that like we all come from the same start. It's just some of us actually like either got lucky, or man, like put in the 80 hours a week every week. Like, I'm like 1,000 shows deep. I have not taken a vacation since I joined the NFT space. Or sorry, since I launched Rock Radio. Let's put it that way. Right before launching it, I was on vacation. Since I launched Rock Radio, I have not been on vacation. I might take my first vacation this summer.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, that's spot on, right? Like, I think it is amazing to me. I was in a Discord the other day where they did not know I was in there. And this guy was just like,
yes,
ripping on one of my takes. And it wasn't just on my take. It was like, this guy, like, he's just saying that because he's mad Moonbirds went down. And that's what these guys, none of it. And then, so I just DM'd the guy, said, hey, just, I'm in this Discord. Appreciate the conversation. Like, just so you know, you can always ping me if you disagree. Like, it's important to me to be intellectually honest with the things I do. And if you don't think I'm being intellectually honest, then just hit me up. And now, what's interesting is that this guy thinks as hard and as thoughtfully as I do about the same topics. So he's actually a very good person to talk to. I find we actually enjoy each other's conversation and are much more aligned than you would think. But it is funny how people kind of project things on you.
If you don't like someone, DM them and tell them to fuck off. You don't have to tweet about it. And then you might realize that you actually like them. Like, straight up, like, I will never understand that. It is not my type. It will never be my type. Like, it is like just crazy to me. So I think it's important for people to like just, especially in a market like this, at the end of the day, like, there's 5,000 traders as of today, space. Of course, that's because they're trading shitcoins. So it's a weird number, because this morning, Nicola was saying there's 500,000 daily active users to SoRare, which are NFTs, just different. But it's just like, man, it's just that I think everybody needs to just realize that we are in the niche of a niche. And it's an echo chamber, and like, people will never take us seriously if we don't actually start like rallying up together and building something. And getting together and building something doesn't mean I need to support you. It also means I don't have to bring you down.
Yeah, no, 100%. Getting up and doing these shows every day, I like your energy unconditionally is like at another level from anyone else in the space. Are you just like born with all this energy? Are you drinking tons of coffee? Are you doing drugs in the morning? Like, what's going on here? Give us the alpha.
If you know me, you know this bottle, because I got 4 of those bad boys downstairs. They're a liter each, so that's a gallon a day. And I do have a double espresso every morning. It's so good. So that's also part of the secret. But no, I mean, the Farokh literally translates to the happy kid in Farsi. I've always been high energy, and it's funny because when people meet me, they're like, "Holy shit, like, you're the same." Like, you're the same energy on Twitter. And I'm like, yeah, why do you think I can remain relevant over such long period of time? Because if you fake who you are, you will burn out. You will be depressed. You will not love yourself. Facts. But if you are who you are intentionally every day and show up, it's like, this is me. This organized chaos here, there's a part of my soul in everything. There'll be a picture of me and my family, my girlfriend. I love Muhammad Ali. There'll be my artifact sneakers, OG ones that one of one Fuel has gifted me. There's Fuel stuff. There's everything here has meaning. A friend of mine painted this. Like, there's little things, right? And so it's just like, I wake up, I come up to my studio in my apartment, and I just do my thing every morning because I freaking love it. Like, I love Mando and Ovi. They're my best friends. They're my biggest supporters, and I'm their biggest supporter. And it's just fun, and I love what I do, man. Like, I know I'm changing something, man. Like, I genuinely believe we're changing the world within Rock Radio.
How would your classmates in like kindergarten have described you, or like your first grade classmates?
Same shit, bro. Dude, I got in trouble my whole life in school for talking too much, bro. Like, you have no idea. Like, the thing is, they couldn't ever do anything because I really had good grades. Like, that's how I got into law school. Like, I was actually doing good at school, but so it was like that weird thing where it was like the kid that's like just gets in trouble for like talking too much, like doing shit, but then like he had good grades. It's like weird. But yeah, that's how they would describe me, dude. Like, just crazy, energetic, like good crazy though, like fun, like, and also like I'm just real, dude. Like, I think that's often true. I think like
a lot of kids who have like attention deficit, and like are all over the
I was
place and
definitely
energetic and
ADD,
fun.
for sure.
But you can like ADD, you can like still rabbit hole on your work. You could be like awesome at math. You could be awesome at reading. Like you can have your thing that you rabbit hole on. So I feel like it's all kind of coherent.
Teach myself. Like I was a solopreneur for a long time, meaning I wasn't very successful, but I was doing good. Or whatever success is to you. Right? Maybe some people would say I was successful. I just didn't think so. And I started like now, you cannot get me out of my desk. I will sit my ass on this chair. I only go downstairs to get water and then go to the bathroom because I drink so much water all the time. That's all I do. Like you can't, I've been sitting here since 9 a.m. I'll do the same thing every day until 10 p.m. And so I'm super focused. So I've learned to be, but before it was like, I was all over the place. So you have to condition yourself and really, really, really learn how to elevate, right? And become better.
And what's your big picture brand? Like when you think of Rug Radio, when you think of yourself, call it like, what does the true success story for this look like in 10 years?
I mean, it's 5 years total, actually, as a matter of fact. Like, there's 3.5 years left. I want a fully decentralized Rug Radio. I want this to be the media for the people, by the people. This is not buzzwords. Decentralization at Rug Radio is not a freaking buzzword. Community at Rug Radio is not a buzzword. I genuinely believe we can build, and we are building one of the biggest brands in the space. I genuinely believe we are, like, top 10, if mind you, whatever, like one of the biggest brands in the NFT space, within the NFT space. But I think that I really want to build like this place where everybody can come and listen and educate and entertain themselves. I really want to be this hub for content, for media that will empower creators. So one day, you ask me 5-10 years, what do you know? 1,000 creators on Rug Radio Network, hundreds of shows, multiple languages, maybe 50 languages. I speak 5 languages. I love languages. So I want to be worldwide, right? And so this is how I see it. And a media brand that is genuinely governed by its people and by its network contributors. Like this is what I want for Rug Radio. You know why? Because then I'm just gonna keep building on top of it or build something else. But like for now, every day, the only thing I'm gonna do, I've promised myself 5 years straight, is all I'm gonna do. Every day, wake up, build Rug Radio, and that's it.
It's awesome.
I love it. I have so much fun, dude. I mean, you're part of. You come every morning. Like we talk a lot. Like this is fun, dude. I get to wake up. I mean, like do this.
Yeah, there are few people who have that level of passion, who are showing up that frequently, who have this level of energy. When I say a few people, it's basically zero. I mean, I'd say that you're kind of a 101 when it comes to.
I like that. Thank you.
Just the mad consistency of content.
Like Tezos 101, ETH 101, Solana 101, or no 101.
I mean, we love all chains equally.
Hell yeah, that's a good reply. I'm across layer 0, 101.
Yeah. And last question, because we try to keep these under an hour. But what is for other kids who got that energy like you have, who've got that energy, who kind of like being out there, who like being public? What's your advice for people who got that energy and want to build? And want to enjoy life, want to do something that makes them happy? What do you think?
Keep going. I tweet keep going a lot. Sometimes I'll just say keep going on Twitter with no context. You got to keep going. You got to double down on yourself. And in times where you're not sure or people are not sure around you, double down again. Bear market, I've doubled down maybe 10 times. So you do the math. I'm not a quantitative guy. Mr. Stats, how much X I've elevated since then. You got to always keep going and believe in yourself, and don't let anybody tell you that you can't become someone, and you can't build what your ideas are. Because whatever crazy idea you had in Web 1, Web 2, whatever you want to call it, you may be able to build it in this space. Because the power of this blockchain technology is something that we haven't even yet explored. We're paving the way with regards to media. I'm holding a flashlight in a cave. That's how I feel. Nobody did it before me. I'm just trying to figure it out every day, right? So I'm going blind, trying to figure out how to do this thing that I love doing. So it's really all about keep going. Yes, I've been following Jack for like 10 years, dude. Like I followed him back then on the Instagram days. So these things, I used to consume his Instagram content like 8 years ago-ish, like way back. So like this stuff, this is exactly it. Like, how many times, dude, in 2016, I went on national television to tell people that Instagram is not for pictures of your dogs and pictures of your food. You can build a business out of it. I got laughed out of the place. Tumblr laughed out. Fucking Clubhouse laughed out. NFTs still getting laughed at. Literally. Still getting, how's your NFT shake on? But inside, I'm laughing because I know I'm at the right place at the right time with the right people. So every time you think it's pointless, maybe sometimes some things you may do are pointless, but just adjust, adapt, change, but just keep freaking going,
Yeah, I love this one because I think
favorite.
it's so.
I know it.
Yeah. It's like, as you are building it's a lot of work before you get to 500 followers.
It took me 10 years, dude. It took me 10 fucking years, Sam.
Yeah. And then there comes a point where you're just like, right when you're about to get successful, you say, man, this is too much. This is pointless. And kind of, it's almost like that's when things take off. That doesn't mean don't listen to feedback, right? Like if the market is giving you the feedback that it doesn't like your product, it could be telling you something. But to your point, like if you believe in what you're doing, then that's probably a great use of your energy. Pretty much regardless. And what do you say to people who, I think everybody in this space has bruises right now. We've all been at the Thanksgiving table and told people that we're in NFTs and it's going to work. And now like things are really starting to kind of I'd say the L's are starting to accrue a little bit. Like what's your pitch to your family, to your friends, to people who are uncertain about this space really moving the needle down the road, as for why you think this is like, at least why you've chosen to devote your career?
The tech is here to stay. Blockchain technology is not going anywhere. What they're trying to sell you on what Web3 is not what Web3 was in 2021. Web3 is just the digital continuation and evolution of Web2. What does that mean? The blockchain is just a next step above the internet. You have the internet, the web, and then you have blockchain technology that's on top of it that allows you to do so much more, like rewarding creators, like someone like me being able to build what I'm building on top of this blockchain. So really educate yourself as much as you can on the blockchain and on the power of its technology and what can be done, right? Like I hate when that, and sadly, is that people think NFTs are bad now because of number go up, number go down, right? But there's so much more to it. And so I just implore people to just keep learning. It's super important, and keep educating themselves because there's so much you can do here. And dude, like all it takes is meeting one person and your life's going to change. So, that's what happened to me. I was on year 10. Like my mentor, when I was 18, always told me 10-year plan. I was 16, sorry. 10-year plan. On year 10, you know what's crazy, Sam? I started Tumblr in 2011. On year 10, 2021, I found out about NFTs and changed my life. It took 10 years. And now I'm in the second phase of that 10 years. So I'm 2 years into NFTs. Imagine the next 8 years, what they have in store for us. So like, I'm just focused on the 10-year plan at all times. I guess something some people may not know about me, but I'm just very, very, very big on that. Like it's like my mantra, aside from good thoughts, good words, good deeds, which is why I wear this. And so it's just like, you just got to double down on this tech because, man, like it's beautiful. Like there's something being built here that is just like bigger than anything else. And I implore people, even if they don't have that much time, and I know a lot of people have children, like yourself, a lot of people have jobs, people got to put food on the table, just even if it's an hour a day, man, like just like try and learn something because it's worth it.
Cool. I think that's a good place to end. Farokh, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, for sharing the inspiring story, all that jazz, man. It was awesome to get to talk to you. I think like I said, you're out there doing something 12 hours a day, and it's very tied to the space. It's very supportive of other people in the ecosystem. It kind of financially kind of grabs a lot of the principles of the ecosystem. So I'm very glad to get you on here to get to tell people what's going on there.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's an honor. Listen, I've been wanting to get on that Proof podcast for a minute. So shout out to y'all, and thank you very much for giving me a voice because I appreciate that a lot. Like anyone who's ever given me a voice, I have a lot of respect for because, and this is why I'm trying to always pay it forward and give other people a voice. It's super important to me. So big thank you to you and to the whole Proof community, honestly.
For sure. And it all comes full circle because I do think it was like Proof. I think it was Rug Radio. That was some of my first kind of spaces I came on. I did an interview with Manda.
We had Kevin on, like I think once or twice, it's just cool. I think this is what it's all about, right? We just all got to stick together. So I really appreciate, everything, and y'all are welcome anytime as well.
Amazing. All right. We will see you soon, maybe tomorrow morning on the Rug Radio Show. Talk to you soon.
All right, that is it for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you would like to help us out, head on over to proof.xyz and click on the reviews button at the very top and leave us a 5-star review. Thanks so much. Take care.